Hi everyone, this is Newbie Girl. We are back to flipping this beautiful zoo. It's really turning around. I'm loving it so much. So you're gonna see me kind of fiddling around with the Indian peafowl, and this is, I think, kind of the direction we're going this week. Is we're gonna be cleaning up some of the habitats. And also I'm going to be doing this area right off the bear tapirs and the was it anteaters that we did, and I'm gonna eventually slide these Indian peafowl kind of over, and a lot of this central area where people are walking around right now are gonna move, and it's gonna be really great, but it is going to be a lot of just cleanup and movement. So we kind of did a speed run through that, but now we're going to be fine tuning this hut because I wanted it to be for staff as well as a sleeping area. I kind of wanted it to be kind of an all-in-one section, which works out really well. So now I'm just trying to figure out which pieces I want in here, whether I want it to be a small keeper hut. And I figured it's just 2 habitats. Technically it's just 1 because the other habitat is being cared for by the keeper hut that we put under the overpass over there. This one is going to have the Indian peafowl attached to it as well, so it will eventually be 2 habitats. So you're gonna see me do that. So we're gonna just keep speeding through a little bit of this, but you know, it's all necessary stuff to make this a really good zoo and to get it all cohesive and looking better than it is now. So it's a little bit of work, and it's not always going to be just building habitats, although I will always try to make it interesting for you guys. But I think part of this series isn't just to make pretty things, it's also to show you how to basically fix what's broken. I've had several of my streaming friends, my zookeeper friends from different communities, tell me that they have old franchises that they just either can't get rid of because of sentimentality, but it's just unplayable because it's impossible because they're broke or whatnot. And I personally think any zoo can come back from the brink of bankrupt. I haven't found one yet that I haven't been able to rescue from bankruptcy. As far as when my game starts to go south, I've only had it happen to me twice. It's happened to me twice now, and you're gonna see it happen to me a 3rd time. I'm not sure if it's gonna be this video or the next video. But you are going to see it happen to me shortly, because if you look down below, you'll notice that our money situation is getting lower and lower. I did not realize that as I was sitting here building, because if you've noticed, I pause it. I pause it a lot when I'm building. So pausing it means no incoming cash, just outgoing cash, which makes it kind of complicated. But it also makes it interesting because I think a lot of us do this. We build and we do things in our park and we make things pretty, and then we unpause and we're like, oh God, now we're in the hole. What do we do? So we're going to kind of cover that either later this video or next video. I'm not quite sure which one yet, but we will be covering it because I do realize our cash flow is really starting to get down there. But yeah, so we're just making this pretty. And I also, while in the middle of making this video, like smack dab in the middle of it, right about now-ish, well, no, maybe a little bit after this. Basically, after recording this video and starting to do the voiceover and go through the editing and stuff, our new DLC and update came out. And I'm probably going to change several things that we've already placed in this area of the zoo. Not this building. This building is going to stay. I like this building. I like the way it turns out. But the Indian peafowl, while it turned out interesting, Basically what we're going to do is we're going to turn it into, I think I'm going to turn it into a restaurant with a walk-through ability, or seating out with the animals or something. I'm not sure. My creative juices have been flowing as far as that goes, and I would kind of like to see where that goes with that. I might play with it some off stream and figure out what I like. Not sure yet. We'll tackle that soon. But this new update, if you guys don't have it yet, if you don't have the update or the new DLC, it is it is amazing. I love a lot of the changes that have happened, a lot of the updates that have happened. It's really, really great. So it'll let me enforce even more stuff that I want to do into the zoo. Some of the water features and bridge features are going to change, but we'll see all these updates as we go along. Anyway, so moving back into this, we basically just kind of changed the elevation just a bit. I'm gonna fiddle with this even more. I'm not too happy with these doorways, so that's not staying the way it is. I'm just trying to lay down ideas as my ideas are coming through my head, which if any of you guys are like that, let me know in the comments, because sometimes as my ideas are flowing, I kind of have to go with them. Otherwise, I will sometimes lose momentum or lose my thought process, and then I have to start all over again. So that's not always the best for me. So just going forward, I love these pieces that kind of cover those little gaps that we end up having. I'm trying to make a little unique architecture like experience here, so it's not just, plain square everything. I'm not sure I'm happy with that, but we'll figure it out. I think I like it after we add these little details, these little touches, these little extra special touches. But yeah, this was a little bit challenging because pathing. So one thing I can tell you that every Planet Zero I've ever talked to, met, etc., even some of the bigger guys or gals, pathing. I think that is something that every Planet Zero can tell you. Pathing is that one thing that can drive you a little bonkers. And I think I might have mentioned it before, but I don't mind saying it again. Pathing can be finicky, can be funky, but there's always a way to do it. You just got to figure out what is stopping your path from working. Once you figure out what's stopping it from working, it's like a light switch and magic happens. So I wanted to make sure this building was pathed nicely so that we could squeeze as many necessary buildings and amenities, etc., for the employees to use, but also make it a smart pathing system. So took a little bit of finagling, but I think I kind of finally got it how I want it. You'll see more adjusting as we go along. Yeah, so the Indian peafowl, the only reason I'm kind of moving things around with it is it's just not going to be permanent. I just wanted to make sure the structure was usable in between construction projects. That way we could have income coming in once I, press play and continue on with the thing. I do know that I was wanting to do a lot more with the Indian peafowl. It's just kind of a start. I was trying to create some door, so it doesn't look as awkward when they come through those. And we can actually place trash bins, possibly either in the walls or on the other side of the walls where people can't see them. It'll stop people from walking through the walls, essentially. But at the end of the day, it looks good. So now doing a little bit of decoration in here, so it's not just plain room of nothingness. Because it didn't work out quite the way we wanted. We'll get it figured out. Now we're just doing some sun shading because it is the Africa Sahara. It is hot, and our African zoo, we want to be sure people are cool and comfy, and I guess as cool as you can possibly be in the African heat, which can get really hot, by the way. And I was trying to think if I should put this in an interesting pattern or just kind of put it all in squares. And I kind of thought a little bit of a twist of a square would be nice, so it's not back to back, but definitely not too strange of a shape. So yeah, just kind of adjusting these, and we're doing basic decorations now. So I'm trying to make this little plaza area better than it was before, which I think it's already looking 10 times better. More streamlined, more decorative, better for paying customers, better for employees. So kind of trying to have embetterment? Wow, English. Trying to have embetterment all the way around, and trying to make sure it's well lit, because want to make sure when you get dark at night, people can see where they're going. If they can't find the food, they can't eat the food. So so always do lighting. It's those little finishing touches that make the game really nice, by having proper lighting or proper flowers or little sunshades or whatnot. More decorating will happen as we go along, as my ideas, I guess, start sparking and I start thinking of things I want to do. If you guys have ideas or thoughts on something you would like to see, or maybe you see me do something and you're like, hey, it would look better if you did it this way, or, I have an idea for that thing you were struggling with earlier, what if you did this instead? If you have those kinds of ideas, feel free to drop them and I'll look them over, and if I agree with you or if I like your idea, then I could always implement it. I will always say that I'm good at building. I am not... There are people who are just next level, and in my opinion, I think that I'm just a small fish as far as this goes. So I will always take all the help, all the, assistance and friendly compliments. And I think that's no matter what size builder you are. I think if you enjoy building and enjoy what you're doing, getting help or getting little compliments or getting little, thought processes as you go. Because sometimes people just see things different than the way you see them. I can say that, or can attest to that, because I do a collaboration zoo with some fellow Collabricorns, and I will tell you, looking at the stuff they create and then the stuff I create, I wonder how in the world they get the ideas they get, and they're amazing and they're beautiful, and it's just... everybody sees things different than everybody else. So I may not see it until you mention it. So if you have an idea or a thought at the end of the video, after you've seen everything I put up, feel free to toss it into the comments. I would love, comments, thoughts, processes, whatever. If you see me doing something and you're like, it'd be easier if you did it this way, definitely mention it. I love these little prefabbed little... pieces here. I think they're really just nice. I don't really have to do much as far as adding my own, because they're already made and they're already there and they're already cute in my opinion, so I use those. And yeah, and never be afraid of using prefab. I actually made a zoo 100% out of Steam downloads. I honestly just wanted to see if I could do it, because I needed inspiration and it wasn't hitting me, and I thought, what if I just download other people's, work that I really appreciate and love, and then take that and, get inspired. And I did. I got inspired by a couple different things. My most recent build that I'm doing for the Collaboration Zoo actually comes from inspiration from one of my favorite builders. Her name is Mathlete. She's a friend of mine. And one of her recent builds is a snow globe, and it's really awesome. Like, it's beautiful and like unique, and I never would have thought of it, honestly. So I kind of took her idea and I'm creating my own little snow globe, and I think it's gonna look really cool. So you guys will see that whenever I'll do a live video with the Collabricorns, and you guys will get to see that if you want to. I will put it on my channel, a link to it in my channel as well, so you guys can see it. But yeah, I always say, get inspiration where you can. Never be afraid to look at stuff on the workshop or use stuff on the workshop and inspire yourself, or learn how to build something. I think I've mentioned it before, but I could not figure out how to build dome items back in the day. I mean, this is back when Planet Zoo was still pretty darn fresh. But my friend Pausley had built the bug thing that I put into this zoo, which you guys saw. I can't remember the name of it right now because my brain's not working. But it's like a bug habitat / restaurant / everything. And I took apart his creation because I wanted to learn how he did it. I wanted to like take apart every little piece and learn how to put the pieces together. The videos helped for sure, but touching it and moving it and working with it yourself kind of gets your brain to, I guess, turn on those bits of how does this work. So that's another good thing. If you ever see a zoo that inspires you, or just a habitat that inspires you, or a piece of a habitat that inspires you and you want to learn how to do it, I say download it, grab it off there, put it into a blank canvas, and then take all the pieces apart and then put them back together and take them apart and put them together, which, by the way, you can do by using Control Z and Control Y to take apart and put together things. You are limited on how many pieces you can do that with, so just be wary of that. But it will allow you to kind of like break apart the Legos and put the Legos back, and break apart the Legos and put the Legos back. It's kind of like the thought my brain comes up with when you're taking apart pieces like that. You're basically playing with Legos, but you don't get schematics. You kind of have to figure it out yourself. And when I was a kid, if you didn't have a schematic and somebody else built a really cool building or a really cool structure or whatever out of Legos, you would of course take it apart and figure out how they did it. That's just something I did as a kid. I'm not sure if any of you ever did that, but I loved Legos as a kid, so I did that all the time. If you ever have those weird little breaks in your walkway, I always say a little planter box fills it in, makes it not look awkward, and then you don't have to redo all your pathing. You can literally just fill in that hole. Quick, simple fix to a hole that you don't want to have to go back and redo all the pathing for. Because pathing, like I mentioned before, can be a pain in the tuchus. So if you're tired of dealing with pathing and it looks great except for that one little spot, that one little hole, just fill it in. Just make it look great with some plants. Or you can use pots, you can use any of the other decorative items, jeeps, jars, fountains, flowers, trees. I mean, be creative. Figure out what you need or what looks good to you as far as filling the hole in. I will always say the less holes you have in your areas where people would obviously garden, which is usually up against buildings and such like that. People garden around those. You're going to see less holes in those areas. So try to always put vegetation around at least those areas. I filled this one in pretty good because it's right next to a staff building, and there's also maintenance right there. So I feel like the maintenance guys would definitely spend some time over there. I'm probably going to fill in the rest of this with even more vegetation. I'm not positive yet because, like I mentioned, the new expansion came out and the new updates came out, and I'm thinking off of that fountain. I'm not sure how I want to do it yet, but I'm pretty darn sure, I'm 90% sure I want to do a restaurant with these birds here. So we'll see how that goes. So this is a trick I learned, I think when I first got Planet Zoo and realized that you could put those edges on and smooth them and kind of make them roundish. Just trying to figure out where I want everything to go because I'm not super happy with the pathing yet. So we're just kind of getting rid of the old stuff, rotating, moving, sliding. You'll see me move it quite a bit until I decide where I want it and what kind of vision I'm going for here. Yeah, so I'm just gonna let you guys watch that. So who else, I guess, learned that path trick pretty quick? I learned it kind of by accident. Because I went to go delete a path that it was just janky, and it ended up doing that curve thing, and I was like, rock on. And I learned that was kind of a zoo hack, so to speak. It was kind of like this moment here where it clicked exactly what I was going for. And I knew that I wanted to make kind of a singular building with, since it's food, I kind of wanted to have like maybe some benches and stuff on the outside to kind of tie it all together. But yeah, so building structures can be interesting. As you'll notice, can definitely be interesting. I'm not sure why that's sitting like that since it's supposed to have clicked on the grid, but we'll fiddle with that in a little bit. So once again, our joyous friend pathing rears its ugly head, and I just kind of figure out what I'm going for, what kind of look I'm going for, and I'll work it out. That little spot, I'm probably going to end up putting maybe a pot with a tree in it there. I think that'll look cute. I'm not sure yet. And this is where I wanted the little picnic area to be, because, like right next to where there's a food area, you might get lucky if you're a customer and grab that picnic thing right close to the food, which is a blessing and a curse if you think about it. I mean, do you ever get close to those food things and then you're like, yeah, close seating, but then you go sit in it and you realize I'm sitting right next to the thing that smells amazing, and what else do they have? And you end up breaking the bank because you just want to eat everything they've put there. So it's kind of a double-edged sword when it comes to getting that seating that's right next to the food places, I think. So just getting all of this situated, I'm trying to figure out why this is being weird. So you'll see me fiddling with that a little bit. It's like this weird clipping action. I don't understand why it's doing it to me. So you fiddle with it until you make it work the way you want it to, and then you just kind of slide it into place. Planet Zoo can be interesting at times, you know what I'm saying? But that's the awesome thing about Planet Zoo. Even though sometimes it's a little finicky, it's still, there's so much customization to it, you can still make it your own at some point. So this is where I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do with it so I can make it look good and what kind of roofing I'm going to go with. Now, I realize that's a little bit of an angle, so it's not what I want. So we'll go with the hut style since it matches the hut style across the way. And, yeah, I think I just decided I was going to fix this later, or maybe put like a topper over the top of it just to kind of cover it up. Because like I said, Planet Zoo, you can make it work. You can fiddle around with it until you figure out what would look good and what can cover up some of that weird angly stuff that just sometimes is glitchy and weird, and just got to figure out a little hack to make it look better. Unfortunately. But I think it actually ends up tying it together nicely, honestly. So I'm just adjusting this to make it the proper height right below the ceiling. So that is the thing. If something is looking strange to you in Planet Zoo, or it's not working the way you want it to, or it's not quite doing what you want, don't be afraid to think outside the box. Grab a piece that technically you wouldn't see there, put it there just to kind of see if it works. I figured the wood theme would work since we're doing like an African hut, outdoorsy type situation. And I made it work. I think it looks good. But at the end of the day, I think it looks like it belongs. So, you just gotta kind of fiddle with it and figure out what works and what doesn't. And then I was like, how can I tie this all together? And so we put the wood at the bottom. I thought it looked good. And then I think we also put some trim on around it too. But yeah, that's the I guess the trick to Planet Zoo and making it look good. I know I have a lot of people that talk to me on stream, and sometimes DM messages through Discord, which my Discord is always open. You guys can always come talk to me any point in time, either in the group or in private. I don't mind if you have a question, or if you are lost, or if you just want to throw some ideas past me and see what I think, or sometimes brainstorming or talking about your ideas, even if I don't have a great idea, sometimes just talking about it makes them just flow out of you, and you're like, wait, I've got this, we're good, thanks for talking to me. And I'm like, I didn't say anything, but you're welcome. I didn't give you any technical help, but sometimes just chatting it out helps. And then sometimes people will message me and be like, I don't know how you did that thing with the wheel and the circle and the arrows, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know what you're talking about. Let's jump on a screen share and can you show me? I've done that in Discord a few times. I've also had them come into my stream and ask questions too. My stream is a very much open forum for conversation. For those of you who don't know, I stream on Twitch. I stream Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you ever just want to stop by, feel free. But yeah, so YouTube, my new year, I guess, resolution, now that I have my own office, my own space, it's nice and quiet if you haven't noticed. There's no doors opening and closing. It doesn't sound like I'm being sharing a space, which sometimes you don't notice it, but to the keen observer you can hear it, and it just makes me feel like I have time, or my own personal time to sit and work on these things, which 2021, the end of it, was a little rough on me with timing. There were some personal issues that came up. Those of you who messaged me or came to my stream, you got to talk to me about me not posting any more videos on YouTube lately. And you know why. You know what's going on. There was some personal issues. So thank you for being patient, sticking with me, and realizing that, real life happens, stuff happens, and sometimes you just got to be a little patient while we deal with real life stuff, because I am just human and you're just human. So thank you for being amazing and coming back and watching my content. I'm hoping you're enjoying what you're seeing. But this has been a lot of fun to build, and I really like what we're coming up with so far. But since this new update came out right after I created this, I think it came out like hours after I finished this video, and I just didn't get a chance to edit it yet. Pretty sure we're going to really revamp the peafowl area, and we might touch some of this area too, just to bring a restaurant in, because I think the restaurants are a really cool addition. Maybe even I think they have the food trucks. I'm not positive. I haven't got to play with the new expansion and new stuff a whole lot yet, because like I said, personal issues, things have been happening. So as of today, I am diving back into my Planet Zoo world and getting back into this franchise, getting back into fixing it, staying committed. I said I wasn't going to stop doing this this series until we were done. I was going to finish this series. I have this horrible habit of completion issues. So I committed to finishing this, and it will get finished. It's just going to be, at a pace that is amenable to the family. So once again, thank you for being patient during the past couple months when, just to put it lightly, my daughter got COVID, and it took a toll on the family. There's a lot more to it. I don't want to get into it a whole lot, but thank you for your patience, your support, everybody who knows about it or came to talk to me in stream and got to hear the story. I appreciate it so much. You guys are amazing. Like, those of you who take the time to sit and watch my videos, I really appreciate you. Yeah, so I always try to decorate these little buildings, because it's the little fine touches that make a building pop. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a tour with either Mathlete or Nikita, and we're looking at a zoo, and I hear Nikita go, "Oh, look at that!" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And I'll pause what I'm doing just to stop and look at whatever beautiful decoration the creator has left, and I almost missed it, or I saw it, but I didn't say anything fast enough because Nikita is very quick on the draw. And Mathlete always notices these beautiful little artistic touches, and if you haven't seen her work, I think she's on my shared creators list, and you guys can definitely go check her out. And oh man, these tapirs are so adorable. I think they are one of my top 10 favorite animals in a zoo. I love the babies, especially because the little speckles they have on their body is like the cutest thing in the world. I'm so happy they made it into the game. They're actually a very endangered species. I think they estimate there's like 4,500 left in the entire world, which is just a crazy, crazy number if you think about it. They're basically natives of Mexico and Central America, and I think northwestern South America. And let's see, but that's the Baird's tapir. What about the other beard? I'll have to look into the information on the other beard. Did you know that they live like 30 years or something like that? It's crazy. They're beautiful, beautiful creatures. I hate that they're so endangered. Let's see. And I love, I don't know if any of you do this, but I love putting the lush green behind the animals. I really think it makes them pop. And tapirs are known for loving very lush, very green environments. So one thing that I know Baird's tapirs, why they're endangered is basically loss of vegetation and a lot of the how many droughts there have been in Mexico. I think that has a lot to do with it, like the severity of droughts, which is basically just causes a steep decline in population and basically makes genetic flow hard to do, because like I mentioned, Baird's tapirs really love lush green vegetation, and of course if the habitat or habitats, trees are being cut down or are being lessened and climate is changing to where droughts are happening, it's just harder for them to maintain their species. Now the cool thing is I do know that they are in a couple of different zoos in the world. One of them I think is the Franklin Zoo. I'd have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure that is one of the zoos that are famous for having their Baird's tapirs. This frustrated me a bit, this placing the second table. You can't place the second table there. You can only place one table. It made no sense to me. I'm like, okay, Planet Zoo logic, got it. So we just made other things happen instead. I figured it's an eating area. What else do you need in an eating area? Definitely trash can. And then I thought, hey, wait a minute, Baird's tapirs, they're endangered, and they should have some education about why they're endangered. If we're gonna, basically have them displayed in this building, I kind of thought education was justified in placing here. I'm not sure which education I chose. If I did not choose deforestation, I probably should make sure that is the proper one put here. I can't recall which one I chose. Brain is going a little bit scattered on that one, but I thought a nice tree instead of a little flower would go really nicely here and tie that endangered sign in very nicely. And I believe I changed the coloration to kind of match the table and the trim that's around this building area. So, have any of you ever seen a Baird's tapir before? I actually have not been lucky enough to see one, and I'm hoping once COVID, dies down and is no longer as detrimental as it is now, I'll get to go see my first Baird. I've been invited to a couple different zoos by some friends, and I think I'm rather excited about, taking them up on their offer. So, as I mentioned before, this isn't just going to be flipping the zoo to make it beautiful, just a bunch of pretty habitats. The goal is to rescue this zoo, to bring it from the horrible state that it got put into because I didn't know quite how to make a zoo properly. And it was also my first franchise. I have talked to many people who've gone back to look at their first franchises, and they're like, "Wow, what was I thinking?" And I was the same way, but I was like, you know what? We're gonna fix it. And the first thing to do is, while we're chugging along, remembering this is franchise, remember we've got to watch our bottom dollar. We've got to watch the animals that are already here, make sure they're healthy, happy, safe, and breeding well, because we got to be careful of their conservation status, but we've also got to make sure that they're, good numbers, good stats, star rated, so that people actually want to come watch them. So we're just kind of taking care of the macaques, making sure that they're not overpopulated with poor genes, and moving them out, and then moving on. So this is something you will see me doing off and on throughout this project, while we build beautiful habitats to replace the ones we have, to make it look like a better zoo, a better place to visit, a better place to be. It's not just about the visitors, though. It's also about the animals. So if you're not double checking your animals when you're in franchise, make sure you're checking out their genealogy. Check out what they are going to produce if they happen to mate. Keep them happy, healthy, and safe, and they produce for you well. So now that I've done all of that, I'm going to go to each one of these tabs and just make sure that they're happy. So click on a monkey and go through each individual tab just to make sure that what they need is there. I'm not worried about the plants right now because we're going to fix their habitat. Adult population, it looks like I may have gotten rid of a couple that I shouldn't have, so I'm just going to double check and see where we're at. It looks like we've got too few adults, which is fine, because I was kind of wanting to bring in, I guess what you'd call a ringer, or a really good adult, to kind of make up for the low genealogy. So I'm just kind of checking mating and what it's going to look like if I were to bring one in. And doing that, I think, would really help our zoo. So I started looking at just the different, I guess, sexes. I was looking for a female, but I decided to not pick one yet, and we're going to do it next episode. Next episode is going to be all about maintenance and bringing our zoo back to healthy. So please come out, check out the next episode. I hope you guys liked it. Please subscribe. Thank you so much for coming. Ring that bell. All those really cool YouTube things, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.